Drink, drink, drink! Please drink responsibly.
It's no secret we on the Beardy Beer Bro show like a drink, and even less of a secret is that we love us some video games, so it's no surprise that of course every now and then we have merged these two pastimes together, and even created a ruddy trophy along the way. Yeah, sure, couch co-op with a mate is great and all, but there's nothing better than getting some cold ones in and destroying your friends in local multiplayer madness on your sofa. And of course, we like ourselves a bit of Halo, COD, Mortal Kombat, FIFA, etc, but they will not be making the list, and instead, we will focus on the best of the rest that the Xbox 360 has to offer. So join us as we slur our words and bring you our top party games that can also be made into great drinking games.
To alcohol, the cause of and solution to all of life's problems.
Right, your fridge is stocked, your mates around, you've got 4 controllers and a ruddy ton of batteries. Now all you need is some games. Blur is generally a no-brainer in my opinion, as well. It's kind of the love child of Mario Kart and Need for Speed. It's pretty easy to get to grips with, and the destructive high-speed all-out war carnage of the races will have you shouting at your mates throughout. It's also one of those games that has just that one more go factor as you narrowly miss out on first place. It's not as simple as Mario Kart though, and mastering the maps, power-ups and cars is a must. The game's pumping soundtrack is also likely to have you bobbing your noggin throughout, and if you fancy adding some drinking shenanigans to this one, then the way we play it is you have to finish your chosen alcoholic beverage of choice by the end of each lap, and depending on your overall finish at the end of the race, you will have to do shots. First place gets off scot-free, no shots. Second place takes 1 shot, third place takes 2 shots, and whoever came in last has to do 3 shots. And as the game goes on, and everyone starts getting a little tipsy and their vision becomes a little blurred, Blur becomes even more frantic. Another great racer I recommend whipping out at a party is either of the Sonic AllStar racing games. Both are great, so it doesn't really matter which one you choose, and to be honest, they are just a Sega celebrating version of Mario Kart. But again, they're no simple cash grabs, as the racing is tight, the controls are intuitive, and the weapons, maps and characters are all meticulously designed. Both games add a few minor tweaks to the kart racer formula, but at the end of the day you'll still just be racing, boosting and firing weapons at your enemies. But it's a ton of fun, and basically anyone can get involved and just have a good time with it. Same rules apply from Blur with this one if you feel like drinking. Finish your drink before the end of the lap, and your overall position determines how many shots or seconds of your drink you have to do at the end.
Boy, that escalated quickly.
Sometimes you have to get creative when a game doesn't have a multiplayer mode, and that's exactly what we do with Trials HD. So what me and my pisshead friends do is choose one track and one bike. We then each take it in turns to see who can get the fastest completion time on said track. Sounds simple enough, right? But the game is hard as nails at times, and watching your mates either narrowly edge or just fail to beat your time is nail-biting stuff. The game is hard enough as is, but the inclusion of booze will truly test your skill and concentration, as the way we play it has you taking a shot for every time you fall off your bike and have to restart a checkpoint, which obviously leads to more fails, which leads to more shots. It's not for the faint-hearted, but it's drinky, competitive hilarity at its finest. Just trust me. Right, moving on from the racing kind of games, it's safe to say Mario Party 4 and 5 are goated party games, and to me, at least, a good minigame compilation really can't be beat when getting the boys round and the beers in. So I have not one, but 2 little often forgotten gems for you. First up is Fusion Frenzy 2. This one is set on some sci-fi television show with over-the-top presenter and all. The game sees you trying to outdo your friends in various minigames, with each victory leading to gaining enough points to purchase planets. It's simple stuff and the controls are responsive, but a few of the games are far more luck-based than skill-based, which can get annoying. It's not the perfect minigame experience, but yet still can be a whole lot of fun with some booze thrown into the mix. But if you're put off by all that, Well, I've got the GOAT of the party games on the Xbox 360 for you. My favourite minigame compilation, well worth adding to your party game collection, is Viva Pinata Party Animals, which honestly is up there with the best minigame packed party friendship testing titles you can find on any system, as instead of just being just a minigame compilation or a board based game with minigames thrown in like Mario Party, the meat of this game is kind of part racer with the minigame events happening after each race. The racing isn't half-baked either, and is fully fleshed out and takes a lot of the best elements of Mario Kart and implements them smartly into it. Then, after each manic race, you'll be treated to one of the many mini-games. It's a unique concept overall, and the intuitive controls and humorous tone really do help the game stand out. There's a lot going on with this one, so I'll leave it to your dastardly minds to add your own boozy rules. WWE AllStars is also a great game to whip out at any party, as its focus on over-the-top arcade grappling mayhem over the more serious, realistic like WWE titles out there makes for a game anyone can pick up and play. The wrestlers are all over-the-top, exaggerated versions of themselves, and so are each of the grapplers' special moves, which just leads to a super colourful, hyper-stupid brawler that will have you in stitches. Do you team up and wipe out that one player who beat you in the last game you played for a nice bit of revenge, or just go to all-out war? Or maybe, if you're a wanker, like a few of my mates I won't name here, do you just run around the ring and hide until everyone's weak enough for you to slide in and easily claim victory? If you're adding drinks, well, just make sure each person's forfeit correlates with their losing position. Winner does nothing, and first player pinned or submitted gets the worst forfeit, etc, etc. The game is bursting with a ton of game modes too, so you can get creative with your drinking rules. But if you can't get behind playing as large, steroid-injecting men in tiny pants, then maybe playing as tiny, jetpack-sporting, rocket-launching pirates is more your idea of a party. Rocket Riot is simple fun at its finest. You fly a pirate around using a jetpack and attempt to blow up your chums with rockets, so think worms mixed with Geometry Wars type controls and you'll get the idea. The twin stick shooter controls make this one extremely easy to pick up, but mastering the floaty nature of the characters will take a little time and skill to get used to. There's not much else to say other than this is an arcadey, explosively good time that is a true multiplayer blast. If you're adding booze into the mix again, well then the most unique thing to do is that for every kill you get, you can assign your total to someone in the room in the form of seconds. For example, 8 kills is 8 seconds of downing your drink, so you can either stitch one mate up, and all players can choose them, especially if they are the strongest player of the game, to get them good and drunk, and you may have advantage for your next match. Or you can be fair and distribute the seconds equally. Next up, if you're not too drunk at this point, then it's time to test your wits and memory, as before we had the Jackbox games, we had Seen It. And while all the games in the series are recommended, the one that me and the lads played the most is Seen It Box Office Smash, as the variety of game modes was far superior in our opinion. Anyway, the aim of the game is to score the most points, which you do by answering movie trivia. Simple enough, but the game's shake up to the trivia throughout the runtime is what makes this one such a competitive good time, as one mate may be great at anagrams and clean up in that mode, but then completely lose it in others. I don't know, I just love this game, and thanks to its simple controls and it being all centered around movie knowledge, it's just one of those games that you can get anyone involved in, no matter what their age or skill set. If you feel like getting medieval on your mates' asses, well then I present to you the best, worst game ever. Deadliest Warrior Legends is one of the most janky fighters you're ever going to play, and that's exactly why it's on this list, as it will truly have you spitting out your drink with laughter as you do things like one-shot enemies or cut one of your friend's arms off and the only attack option they have left is just trying to kick you. It's also broken and unbalanced and just a generally hilarious good time that deserves to be at any party. I mean, you can literally grapple someone, and if they don't press the same button as you do in a kind of rock paper scissors minigame, well then that's it, they're dead. Yep, it's that dumb. The mode we played the most though is Skirmish, where you pick 4 fighters each and have to battle until your mate has no more warriors left. If you lose a warrior, you do a shot or down your drink, and at the end, if a player has more than one character left, the loser has to do a forfeit up to the number of how many warriors the winner has left on his team. It's just a stupidly funny good time, but for those who are fans of Risk, there's even a board game Risk-esque type mode for up to 4 players. That is a ton of fun too. Right, that's it for the main games, and depending on just how much you and your ruddy mates can drink, then before I go, I'd like to highlight 2 honourable mentions that we got off the indie store. The first is Power Volley, which if you're an old fart like me, is easiest described as a more advanced version of that slime volley game we played back in high school during IT when the teachers weren't looking. You know what I mean? To anyone who doesn't know what that is, well, basically you move left and right and jump to bounce a ball over a net. Sounds simple enough, but when you get a good volley going, it can be palm-sweatingly tense and so much fun with your friends. But be warned, you may end up falling out over this one. Yeah, so drinking wise, every point scored against you, you take a drink or a shot, and try to stay sober enough to win. Yeah, it's brutal. Simple, addictive multiplayer at its best. Right, you're just going to have to trust me with this one, as until you play Get to the Chopper, you're just not going to understand what makes it so great and so special. As well, it visually looks like shit, and maybe one of the most basic and plain 2D endless runners you will ever play. But, and it's a big but, a Lizzo-sized but if you will, the game works not only thanks to its simple, high-score chasing antics, but its one-song soundtrack that is one of the best pump-you-up, determination-driven beats you will ever hear, and really does help you to get into the flow as you jump over mines, shoot zombies, and slide under rocks, all while the game gets faster and faster. This one is a solo play affair, but taking it in turns, trying not to have the worst score at the end, is just so goddamn addictive, especially as your drunken pals try to distract you and mess up your flow. If you get this one, my one small piece of advice I give you is never ever look at your high score, just concentrate on the game. And that's it, these are the games that will always come out at any gaming house party I've ever thrown. But I want to hear from you lot, what games make it into your disc tray when you've got the crew round and the booze is flowing? And as always, until next time, you guys stay tipsy.